So like in our last video, we're going to open the menu and we'll see this page. We're going to go to the bottom and click the palette. We're going to go to our search bar and we are going to type in square canvas, and then we will see this pop up. We're going to click on it and then we are going to spawn it into our room. We're going to go back to our menu to tools and we'll scale it. This can help you draw bigger or larger. If you're on VR, I suggest drawing a little bit smaller board. If you're on a Huion tablet or an iPad or a phone, I suggest making it larger. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it kind of large. And now we have our canvas. Our next thing we are going to need is our markers, and all you have to do is search up magic and then marker, and then this will pop up. You will click this and spawn it. I typically spawn it a couple times if I'm going to color a piece. I'm not going to be coloring today, but if you are, I would suggest doing multiple. You will also need erasers. There are two types of erasers. We have the square and we have the marker eraser. There is also one other supply called a paintbrush. So we also have the paintbrush, and I personally don't use this or like to use this because I don't see a point in kind of messing with the recolor with the maker pen. I'd rather wish the paintbrush had its magic paintbrush. I feel like that would be much better in my opinion. Once we get all of our supplies, I have mine already spawned in and laid out, so they are right here. I do actually scale my eraser down and up. You don't have to do that. I do that. I think it just helps a little bit. But now I'm gonna clean off my board and get rid of this little draw on me. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna need is grabbing our marker and picking our colors first. I typically start off with a lighter color. So this is our magic marker menu. You can scroll all the way down and you'll find the white through black grayscale. I would typically start off with a light color, so the mist or a fog would be fine. You can do this gray if you want, but starting off with a lighter color, it could also be a light pink, just so you can build up your colors as you go, so you can really see and finalize your drawing. I typically click the black and then I go to custom and then I move my value all the way up and I get this light gray color. You don't have to do that. You can use the pre-made colors. It does not matter. But now we are going to take and draw a male portrait. The last video I did was a female portrait. This one is basically the opposite of that. It has very similar steps, except we're keeping in mind we are drawing a male person. We are drawing a male figure. Alright, so to start our male portrait, I am going to start off by making a circle. And once we get this circle drawn, again, it does not have to be perfect. My circle is not. It is messy. It is, not that pretty. But as long as it looks similar to a circle, it's not like an oval shape, you are completely fine. You're doing great. Next thing I'm going to do is chop my circle in half. So we're going to make it extend just a little bit, and then we're going to cut it again in half, kind of making a pie shape. The next thing we are going to do is add our secondary line underneath. This is where I'm going to add our eyes, and then our nose is going to be about here. I kind of make it around this area just a little bit above our bottom circle line right here, and then I add the mouth where that circle line ends, and then where this extends out, that's where I put my chin. Now again, this is very, very similar to our female. to make this look more male, we're doing a lot of sharp and angular features. So whenever I do the side of the face, is cutting in half like this. And then we're gonna do a more angular look and kind of more boxy type of shape. Once we do this right here, I'm gonna take and go ahead and add in my sides of the neck, and then we're gonna add our shoulders like so. And I'm just gonna keep it really flat. I'm not gonna do too much with this. And then we're gonna add shoulder bones and collarbones, and we're gonna add a bit of the neck bones that are there, because most men have like an Adam's apple, so we're gonna want to keep that in mind and kind of draw it in. And the Adam's apple is basically, I kind of keep it more of like a U shape, but it kind of comes up more like so. And then you can add some lines like this if you wanted to around. And then for the collarbones, you can add this just about right here, and that's creating this triangle shape with our shoulders. And then this kind of rounds out for the rest of our shoulders. It's a little more muscular of a guy, if I'm being honest. This will be our kind of guy, kind of giving him a little more maleness. Oh my goodness. Okay, but we're adding some more like muscles for him. Our next thing we can do is kind of finish out placing all of our features. So our eyes are gonna go about in the middle. I'm just gonna add some circles. This is for just our placeholders. And then our ears are gonna be on this side. And I typically just do long ovals just for placement. Now for our next step, we're gonna open our magic marker. We are gonna move our value down or go to the next color up in your pre-made color palette. So that could be fog or it could be gray. And then we are gonna zoom in if you're on a screen device, or if you're on VR, just kind of get closer to your board a little bit, or scale up your board. So you can do really small face details. Now, whenever you do eyes for men, try to keep them a little more angular. So right now, I actually made these really round. I suggest lifting the sides up a little more to kind of give them a little more of an angular look to your eyes. Alright, so we have finished kind of doing our black outline. The next thing I'm going to do is grab our eraser marker and kind of make this a little more cleaned up. Alright, so once we get to this step, I'm gonna re-grab my marker, and I'm gonna just grab, honestly, just the mist, and I'm gonna do some simple shadows on him. So I'm gonna really kind of go under his hair where it should be creating some shadow, kind of the side of the nose. It's gonna follow very similar to how I shaded the female portrait, just to kind of make it easier on demonstration. And so again, keep in mind, go underneath things. you know, the hair is on top of him. Kind of think of it as layers of something on this person whenever you're coloring them. Alright, so I've basically done a lot of the shading on the face. I'm going to move on to the hair. Now for the hair, I like to shade the tops of the roots and the ends at the ends of the hair. So right now it's gonna start looking a little funky, but after all of this is done, we're gonna go over kind of where our black lines were and kind of clean those up to make it a little nicer. But for right now, we're gonna just color in what we can and kind of just do a messy kind of color because we're gonna go over this and it's gonna look a lot better. And then we're gonna go to the top and kind of just shade, like so, something like that. Then we're gonna do the same thing over here. We could also go deeper with our gray tones if we want to. Kind of have it go down and around and all over the place. Alright, so once we got this, we're gonna get our black marker and we're gonna go every black line that kind of got messed up. Alright, so I think this is going to be the final product of drawing a male face. Again, you can make this a little more finished if you wanted it by adding more shades or even coloring this or, you know, doing something like that. But this is overall what you can do to draw a male portrait.